women's voices visible and empower them. And with this project,
Please welcome Claireth, a Colombian feminist leader and founder of Proeza, empowering young girls through mentorship and leadership. Her work has impacted thousands across Latin America and beyond.
I have some moments. I have a couple of moments that have been or have significantly marked my way of thinking, my dreams, my passion, above all that the path I have chosen for both personal and professional life. And also the way I have been doing it, sometimes changing my career paths and sometimes, little by little transforming my own personal journey. I think the first moment was in my childhood. My parents give me a lot of freedom to decide, and they encourage me to do
Mhm.
many things on my own way. I remember, for example, when I was about 8 years old,
Yeah.
I took the bus alone to go to the school. And when I was around 10 years old, I went to my dentist appointments alone.
Yeah.
And they sent me sometimes, I think 2 or 3 times, on a bus trip from Santa Marta to Villeta. Villeta is a small town near to Bogota, 1 hour and a half from Bogota, to visit my aunt. My aunt is like my second mother to me.
Okay, nice.
And today I wonder how, like how angry, how was the courage that they have, to send me to that place, traveling by bus on a long trip around 16 hours. But I think freedom and
Yeah.
self-protection
Yeah.
for my personal and my current, character. Another moment was in my university life when I began studying business administration in Santa Marta, the University of Magdalena. It's the public university of my city. Um, and there I was part of the several student groups. The first was in a group called Monari Lau, that in Bantu language is an Afro-descendant language, means like song of the university.
Okay.
And it was an Afro-descendant group, with which I was able to discover much more about my Afro culture. It allowed me to have a space, for self-discovery. And it was at the time when I was around 16, 17 years old.
Okay.
And in that moment, identifying myself as a Black woman. And I had the opportunity to connect with with the roots of where I come from. Another moment was in that university as well. I was part of the ISX, in a global leadership initiative, where I began to develop social impact and community work projects. There I discovered my passion, lay more in that direction, to giving back to the community. Yeah, I was, more related with social justice and youth empowerment. And the third moment was around 2018, 2020, when I was
Okay.
living in Panama. I was working for Dell, the multinational technology company, but at the same time was working with some NGO. One of them was Indigo. I was the executive
Yeah.
director for a couple of years there, and I was delivering of skills and leadership skills with young people. And here I had the opportunity, to in several occasions to give workshop for girls who live in orphanages, or were teenager, mothers at an early age. So I think adolescents mothers, and yes, most of them living in a vulnerable situation. So in that moment, I have a feminist encounter, and I realized that we cannot develop leadership skills in women if we don't get deep in the main issue that women we fix in this world. So I faced, I was connected with them, and I realized that there
Yeah.
are a lot of gender-based violence. And
Yeah.
in that moment, I decided to quit my job and I applied for achieving a scholarship to do a master in women violence and conflict in order to to have more background about feminism, violence, women, gender studies, and complement with the leadership skills. So right now I have a platform where I develop leadership and feminist training for young adolescents and young women.
Yeah.
So this is like I think a couple of moments that have been shaped how I can understand the world, how I can make more impact, and how I define myself as well.
So, was there ever a moment in your life when you felt like giving up?
For sure. I think the most recently one was when I quit my job because I wasn't in in the high peak of my career with a lot of, recognition, awards, as well like I'm making through my dreams when I was child because I grew up in a poor community and I am the first woman um, educated or that got
Yeah.
university degree and a master degree. So for me, it was like a personal statement and family statement as well. But in that moment, I felt too much connected with the girls, too much connected with this kind of young women that had similar experience or similar life than me. And it was more like, come on, I really want to know to continue the rest of my life working to empower other women.
Hmm.
And in that moment, I quit my job and I moved again to Santa Marta, to Colombia. Uh, and yeah, so it was like a big change because I was working in a big company with benefits, salaries,
Yeah. Yeah.
business trip, living in Panama, etc. And I came back to my city, living in vulnerable situation again, surrounded with social issues, and in a small NGO. And I remember the first day that I came to know I went to the first day to start my new job. I was, oh my God, what I did, yeah, sometimes you have to fight with your own, desires because
Yeah.
yes, I was totally sure I am doing great and I can make an impact in that small NGO. And this NGO can as well allow me to understand the social and the humanitarian life because it wasn't a humanitarian organization. But sometimes, yes, you can feel like your professional life is dropping off, but at the end of the day, I found the purpose. I was connected with the United Nations in different way. I was leading the finance and administration team for Venezuela and Colombia, and I was able to travel to Italy in the headquarters. Yeah, yes, and that allowed me to understand the humanitarian and
Yes.
international
Yeah.
cooperation world, and for sure give me some different skills and competence to apply for the achieving scholarship. I think make a career change.
Yeah. That's
Sometimes
good. Yeah.
you can have like in my case, sometimes I have the motivation high, like I can
True.
do it. And sometimes when you I don't know, you're not having the same financial status, sometimes you feel like you are dropping off. But it's not
Yeah.
like kind of roller coaster, but at the end of the day, my gratification is I am doing well. Every time when I prepare in a workshop for the girls and I
Yeah.
finish
Yeah.
the training, I say, okay, come on, girl, you are doing well. So it's like a self motivation constantly, but yeah.
Yeah. That's important. Yeah. That's true. So, how does being a woman mean to you in today's world?
Yeah, I was listening to Judy Butler. She's an academic and a feminist, no, American feminist and writer this morning, and she was explaining about feminism, what feminism is, and she says something that like a super interesting. That say feminists exist, to give enough and different perspective about what woman is, and feminists begin with the question, what does being a woman mean? But feminism as well, like is obsessed and without no answering properly that question. Yeah, and it's like why we need to know to put tax on women,
Yeah.
but the reality is one from a feminist perspective. Being a woman today world is a complex and a dynamic experience shaped by historical inequalities,
Yeah.
cultural expectations, and ongoing struggle for equity and justice. For me, this involves navigating in a patriarchal system while embracing individual and collective strengths, and also means challenging stereotypes, advocating for rights, and redefining what it means to success or thrive on one terms. I think importantly, the experience of being a woman is not monolithic. It is deeply influenced by factors like
Yeah.
race, class,
True.
sexuality, culture, underscoring the importance of interweaving these identities into border feminist fight for liberation.
So, what advice would you give to women facing similar challenges?
Okay, yes, I can answer that based on my own experience, and that
Mm-hmm.
allow me, to like running away sometimes I say from the poverty cycle.
Yeah.
And the first thing is a build and a support network. Surround yourself with people who affirm and support your journey, like friends, mentor, or feminist and volunteer organizations. I think solidarity can be a powerful tool for resilience. Sometimes we can feel that we cannot do that, we are giving up, and our support network is important for that. I think in the today world, embrace intersectionality. So
Yeah.
understand how your unique experience, whether do you to the race, sexuality, class, or other factors shape the challenge that you face.
Yeah.
So advocate for solutions that address those layers. And voice is important.
Mhm. True.
And I think use your voice.
Yeah.
Speak out for the rights and for systematic change, even in a small ways. We don't need to think about mass participation. Sometimes in individual level, we can't use our voice in some spaces, in our college, in our community, in our family. Your voice can inspire and empower others in similar situations. And I think as well practice self-compassion. So
Yeah.
facing systematic or personal challenges is tough. Give yourself grace and you grow as you grow and adapt. I think the last thing is educate and advocate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep
That's true.
yourself with knowledge about your
Yeah.
rights and ways to challenge inequalities. Then extend this to empower others.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is my couple of advice for another girls.
How has your cultural background influenced your life path?
Yeah, I think we are like we are the summary of an accord, different ingredients. And for example, in my case, I'm from the Caribbean, the north of Colombia, and my personality is like that. I am fresh, and I feel like sometimes like happy, and I think this characteristic of the Caribbean people give me, sometimes this self confidence, and
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well uh, kind of therapy when sometimes I'm feeling down. Just putting a music, dancing a bit, so help me feel like more, energized again to restart.
True.
Um, as well, as a colonized country, specifically in Colombia and in our coast, was very impacted with the slavery and black power in some words. Give me this like a I don't know like the energy, this feeling of continue fighting for inequalities and giving other the chance to know about different things. So I think that's why I like and I enjoy too much to share with other opportunities for scholarship, opportunity for a university, opportunities to develop new abilities. Because when you are in a certain context, they don't have knowledge, you don't have the same level of education that people in the in the capital they have. It's so hard to expand your mind. It's hard to know to think that many things are possible.
True.
I think this is kind of a cultural background, historical background. And yeah, another thing is like my like roots, being a Black woman with this kind of intersection, coming from a poor community and without source, to study university, Latin American. When I went, sometime when I went, abroad, we feel this kind of racism or challenge.
Yeah.
Give me that perspective to be more empathic with others, to understand that everyone has privilege, but as well we have challenge, different challenge, and we have sometimes to build this safe, group that understand ourselves, and as well to get in different kind of diverse groups, things like that, to get more information, to expand our mind, to expand our knowledge, and then apply in our own life.
Thank you so much. Your work is inspiring and impactful. Thank you for sharing your story and empowering women and youth around the world. We're grateful for your leadership and insights. So, hope we can see each others again and do beautiful work which you are doing, which I am doing. And definitely, I think we are on same track. So, definitely, we're going to meet
Yeah.
somewhere. So, be in touch.
No, thank you so much for the invitation. I really love this kind of project. Because sometimes we think that there are a lot of projects that are, amplifying voices, there are a lot of podcasts, but yes, every podcast has a different perspective. Every podcast has a target audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to amplify more voices, women voices.
Yeah.
And thank you for inviting me to this project, and I hope all the best for you. I wish all the best. I think
Thank you.
you are doing an amazing job. I have the pleasure to meet you in England and University of York, and I already admire your job.